Hey everybody, good morning. Facebook Live. It's welcome back to another edition of the Mike Douglas Show. I'm JP Murray. Hey, I've got a really special guest today. Julie Devine is with us. We're going to talk about multiple client sales. We're going to talk about membership retention and recruitment. We're going to talk about virtual workspace a little bit. But let's get started. Tell us about your role here at the company, and guys, how we got started. Let's go back that far. Right?
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So I met you through softball.
Softball. I'm a little tired because I watched part of a 17-inning game last night in the World Series. But yeah, we got connected through softball.
Through softball. And then I started seeing the Facebook posts of, we're looking for a sales associate,
Yeah.
we're looking for an employee. And I was like, oh, this sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
So I threw my hat in the ring, and here I am.
So there's I bring that up because there's something to learn from it, right? And that is, one, if you're owning a business or running a business, don't be afraid to work with people that you know and like. I mean, that's kind of what you want to do, right? So I knew she kept good scorebook. I had no idea if she could do this, right?
Yeah.
And it's turned into a great relationship, and you're a wonderful part of this team. And Kim Gillam's behind the camera, kind of the same thing. I mean, we knew each other first and then started working together. So tell me about some of the things that you're doing over here right now.
So my role is to support Bethany. So I tee up sales calls, sponsorship calls,
Yeah.
exhibitor calls for her by sifting through prospect lists, leads,
Yes.
whatever we get from the client in order to help her close the deal. So I'm the first line of communication to those prospects.
Yeah, so anybody that's working with us, and by the way, we're going to talk about this on our June 27th webinar that we're going to run that you guys can register for. When we attack most of our client sales operations, it's a three-person team, right, where we're marketing with email, we're doing sales, lead gen, and prospecting, and then we have someone that's closing the deal as well. So you're setting up the calls, setting up the dialogue, going through those lists, some good, some not so hot, right?
Yes.
And working with multiple clients to do that. One of the things that I want to ask you about is you have really embraced some of our values here, one of which is work is what you do, not where you are. And so in our company, you can either work here at the headquarters or you can work at your house. I really don't care. As long as the work gets done and we're executing for our people and for our clients, that's what it's all about. So tell me about how you really have flourished in that environment.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody.
And not that you don't get along with people in person.
Right.
That's not the reason.
Yeah, no, I love everybody. It's not for everybody. Some people can't do it because they get too easily distracted. But I had to come up with my own method of keeping organized and keeping things together so I didn't have to worry about, I need to load the dishwasher or whatever. So I get up every morning just like I'm going to the office. I get up, I get dressed, I get my cup of coffee, I get myself planned for the day, and I sit down. And that's my space for the day. And I although we do get distracted with kids or whatever, it's no different than if I were here. I would handle it the exact same way.
And you have distractions here too, right?
Exactly.
Somebody wants to talk to you about something. I'm talking to you about the 17-inning softball game last night, right?
Right.
So this is probably your least efficient day of the week, is the fact that you came in here and worked with us today. And it's been very successful. And you know what, folks? We've seen really no difference in performance levels or anything. I think the most important thing is pick an environment that enables the person and member of your team to be successful. One of the things that we hear about, we talked about this earlier, one of the things we hear from associations is, oh my goodness, how can you handle multiple clients? So you have clients that transport things that blow up, that bake hamburger buns, and that run pension funds.
Mm-hmm.
Those are entirely different types of people, organizations, cultures. How do you manage, how do you kind of, and is it a true concern? Or tell me about your experience in managing multiple clients across industries.
The only time that it would be an issue is if it was an in-depth question about that industry, where I would kind of engage and then help shift that off to the correct person to answer the question. But across the board, the questions are mainly the same. What are the dues?
Regardless of the
what's my
association.
commitment?
Yeah.
What those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
it's really not all that different across the board.
It's basically, and this is how we've been able to scale, to be honest with you, is that we get the same questions regardless of the association. And the fact that we can navigate those, answer them well, and continuously follow up, that's where the associations are kind of, they've got the gap or don't have the bandwidth.
Right.
Another thing that we've learned is, and this I'm really interested in hearing from you on this. When we first got into this, it was all about recruitment and sales. But now we have clients, and you're working with some, that want us involved in onboarding and retention. So we used to treat them as separate, recruitment and retention, separate operations. But now we're learning in doing both of those. You've got a client that you're working that for. It's really been an interesting thing. What have you learned from recruitment and retention? What are the similarities and the differences?
They're both sales. They're both
Yeah.
sales. Both retention and recruiting are both sales. You still have to show them the value. You still
Yeah.
have to reel them in. And not only, what I have seen is with the client I'm working with now in retention, is that the person that is attending those may not be the one writing
yeah.
the check. So we have to make sure that that person attending all those conferences has that value that they can pass on. So it's still sales. It's
Yeah.
all still sales.
And is it often a different person than you sold to?
Yes.
The other thing that I really like that you've started to implement, it's been very successful, is how you're onboarding people. Tell us about your little onboarding webinars and how they work.
Yeah, so when a client comes on, or when a new member comes on to that client, a lot of times the association would just send the little box of tchotchkes and go, have a nice day.
Right, put them on the list.
Yeah, so what I've seen is that when we do the onboarding, they feel a little more warm and comfortable with attending things if they have a face or a name that they can put with that association. So I do a little onboarding of the website, little webinar tour, show them how to log in. I mean, it might seem trivial, but they might not get it, which we've seen has been very valuable in getting people involved in the websites and things. The other thing I do is, I call it a 30, 60, 90-day warm handshake. So at 30 days, they actually get a handwritten snail mail note from me that said, great, I'm glad you're on board. I hope to see you at the next conference.
Wow.
Stamp it and send it.
Yeah.
Then, at 60 days, they're going to get a phone call. We're going to sit and talk and see if they've attended the last event, what they liked, what they didn't like. And then at 90 days, we engage the association and bring in someone from the board and ask them to make a phone call and make a friend. So,
hey, here's the thing that we haven't talked about, though. We've talked about process. We've talked about the product. We've talked a little bit about how we do things. But let me tell you the other part of it. You need somebody like this doing it for you. This isn't intended to be a sales pitch, but if you didn't get from this that this is the kind of person that could be working for your association and doing a hell of a job, then we need to do another one of these to reinforce it. Julie, thanks. Thanks for coming in.
yeah.
And I know you don't have your butcher paper out and doing
I
all
have
your
my
stuff.
butcher paper.
Oh, you do.
I
You show
have
it to
it.
them. Show
I
it to
have
them. So this is how she does it, folks.
This is my week. I sit down every day. I sit down with Bethany and we go over what's going to happen that week. This also gives me a space down here, so if I'm on Monday or Tuesday and I'm dealing with DGAC, but I get an aluminum call, I have a place to stick it.
So this is on your table.
Yes, this is my blotter for the week. So it is old school, but it keeps my brain on paper and a little more organized.
And so then if somebody returns a call from you, you kind of got what the deal is with we're showing clients here,
Yeah.
but organizations that we're working with.
Right.
I don't know if that was okay or not. I think it was. Hey, so Julie, thank you so much. That was fantastic. Folks, thanks for dialing in. I know it was a little bit longer than usual, but it was worth it. Thanks for joining us. Sign up for our June 27th webinar on prospecting. It's going to be awesome. Bye-bye.